The people built that kid up to put him on my level. Once again, there will never be a fighter that's on my level.
Я був на тренуванні, у мене було тренування, вибачаюсь, будь ласка.
Oh, and then Floyd says fine. We go for the embrace. Referee Chuck Cortez is not there.
Jay, will they turn into a nightmare here? Wembley, big one from Usyk.
Floyd Mayweather doesn't just throw punches in the ring. He throws verbal jabs outside of it too. And this time, those jabs landed squarely on the chin of Oleksandr Usyk. In a recent comment that shook the boxing world, Mayweather casually dismissed Usyk's legacy, calling him good but not great and suggesting the Ukrainian heavyweight was being overly hyped for achieving what true champions have done for decades. But Usyk didn't just take the hit and walk away. The unified heavyweight champion responded with calm precision and a sharpness that didn't need volume to cut deep. This isn't just a clash between two boxing icons, it's a collision of philosophies. On one side, Mayweather, the undefeated showman who mastered both the sport and its business, a man who built an empire with timing, defense, and unmatched promotional flair. On the other, Usyk, the technician and quiet storm who rose from cruiserweight to dominate the heavyweight division with footwork, humility, and raw skill that speaks louder than any press conference. What Mayweather framed as critique, Usyk transformed into defiance, refusing to be defined by another man's legacy, especially one built in a weight class far removed from the battlefield he now rules. This feud isn't just personal, it's generational, international, and deeply symbolic. And if you thought Usyk was going to let it slide, you clearly don't know Usyk.
The first undisputed heavyweight champion this century. Can Oleksandr Usyk pull it off?
It all began with what seemed like a classic Floyd Mayweather moment. Confident, slick, and calculated. During an interview with a boxing outlet, Mayweather was asked about the current state of the heavyweight division, and instead of focusing on Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua, he zeroed in on Oleksandr Usyk, delivering comments that sent ripples through the combat sport world. Usyk's a solid fighter, Floyd said with his signature smirk, but people need to stop acting like he's doing something new. He's not the first to unify belts or move up in weight. And honestly, if he were American, we wouldn't even be hyping him like this. There was no knockout punch, no direct insult, just classic Mayweather subtext, the kind that hits harder the longer it lingers. It was a statement only Floyd could deliver, vague enough to avoid blame, yet sharp enough to provoke. In one breath, he diminished Usyk's accomplishments, questioned the legitimacy of the praise surrounding him, and played the ever-charged race and nationality card, implying that Usyk's global admiration had more to do with politics than prowess. For those deeply engaged in the sport, this wasn't just a passing remark. It was Floyd drawing a line in the sand, reaffirming his place as boxing's gold standard and challenging the notion that someone else, especially a non-American, could attain legendary status without passing through his gate. Whether it stemmed from ego, strategy, or a calculated reminder of who built the modern blueprint for boxing stardom, Mayweather's words were anything but random. And while most fighters might have sidestepped the drama, Usyk did the unexpected. He stepped right into
Mel Sport Boxing travelled to Spain to exclusively watch the champ in camp. He's looking better than ever, and you're about to see why.
When Oleksandr Usyk finally responded, he didn't come out swinging with wild words or emotional rants. He didn't need to. Instead, he delivered a calm, calculated retort that landed with the weight of a heavyweight uppercut. Speaking through a translator in a Ukrainian interview, Usyk acknowledged Mayweather's greatness but offered a quiet challenge to his definition of it, saying, "Floyd was a great boxer, but greatness is not just about money or fame. It's about who you fought and what you fought for. I fight for my country. I fight for my people. I don't need to talk. I show it in the ring." There was no yelling, no theatrics, just surgical honesty, and that's exactly what made it sting. Usyk could have gone low, mocking Floyd's exhibition bouts or pointing to the cherry-pick opponents critics love to cite, but he didn't. Instead, He chose a path rooted in humility and purpose, reminding the world that his journey isn't about building a brand or chasing pay-per-view numbers. It's about war zones, not wardrobes, about leaving his family during a real conflict to train and defend world titles. In that single, composed statement, Usyk redefined what it means to fight, not for fortune or showmanship, but for sacrifice and something far greater than oneself. He didn't just defend his name. He flipped the narrative and quietly placed Mayweather's legacy under a different kind of spotlight. Because when you strip away the undefeated record and the billion-dollar empire, the real question remains, who will risk more, who truly fought for something beyond the ring? That's a conversation Usyk started, and he didn't have to raise his voice to make the boxing world listen.
It's Do you believe this?
Floyd Mayweather doesn't speak without purpose. Every jab, whether verbal or physical, usually carries a calculated angle. So when he took aim at Oleksandr Usyk, a fighter who's never called him out, never disrespected him, and never even shed a weight class, it raised a sharp and simple question. Why? Some see it as classic Floyd brand defense. Usyk's rise, especially after dethroning Anthony Joshua to become the unified heavyweight champion, had become too loud for someone like Mayweather, who's long positioned himself as the ultimate benchmark for greatness. With Usyk's name creeping into GOAT conversations, his resume praised as purer and his victories viewed as riskier, Floyd may have felt compelled to reassert control over the narrative, a reminder that no legacy in boxing gets carved without passing through his gate. Others believe there's a deeper promotional game at play. Mayweather has always championed his inner circle, and with rising stars like Gervonta Davis under his wing, any shift in global attention towards someone like Usyk could be perceived as a threat. By downplaying Usyk's acclaim, Floyd shielded his brand, his fighters, and his dominance over boxing's cultural narrative. And then there's the unspoken angle, the one everyone senses but few articulate. Usyk represents everything Mayweather is not. His stoic where Floyd is flashy, war-tested instead of undefeated, humble to the point of invisibility. Mayweather is the face of boxing as spectacle. Usyk embodies boxing as sacrifice. One fights in Versace, the other trains in trenches. And maybe, just maybe, Floyd sees in Usyk a rising admiration for a kind of fighter who doesn't need cameras or controversy to prove greatness, something that subtly threatens the empire built on charisma and control. Whether it's jealousy, strategy, or simply Floyd being Floyd, the shot was fired for a reason, and the target wasn't just Usyk, but everything Usyk represents.
He can slow you down in his pace. There's no way to hold you down. I don't care how good you think you are.
On paper, comparing Oleksandr Usyk and Floyd Mayweather is like comparing fire and ice, both dangerous, both iconic, but forged in entirely different worlds. Mayweather built his legacy on perfection. 50 wins, 0 losses, 5 weight divisions conquered. He ruled the sport with surgical defense, unmatched ring IQ, and a business-savvy mind that made the world pay top dollar just to watch him not get hit. He transformed boxing into a blend of spectacle, strategy, and financial empire, and no one has done it quite like him. Usyk, on the other hand, is building something equally powerful, but far less polished and far more raw. He became undisputed at cruiserweight, a rare feat in itself, and then moved up to heavyweight, arguably the most dangerous division in boxing history, where he didn't just survive but decisively outclassed Anthony Joshua twice. While Floyd carefully managed risk and reward, Usyk ran headfirst into danger, embracing the toughest challenges without hesitation. Their legacies are crafted from 2 different blueprints. Mayweather's was about control, choosing the perfect moment, mastering the media, curating his image, whereas Usyk's is about chaos, fighting anyone, anywhere, while his homeland is engulfed in real war. He doesn't boast or posture, he just proves himself through action. Usyk doesn't need adoration, headlines, or hype. He's carving a legacy with grit, gloves, and quiet resilience. So when Mayweather attempts to downplay Usyk's achievements, he's not just criticizing Usyk, he's defending his own standing. Because deep down, even Floyd knows that legacy isn't just numbers on paper. It's about what you risked, what you endured, and what you stood for. And in that sense, Usyk's legacy may not be as loud, but it hits a hell of a lot harder.
ground, box, defend, eat, sleep, blah, 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 blah.
Boxing has always been more than just punches and footwork. It's theater, identity, and ideology crammed into 12 rounds. And in many ways, the brief but charged feud between Floyd Mayweather and Oleksandr Usyk pulls back the curtain on a deeper tension within the sport. This isn't merely two fighters exchanging verbal jabs. It's a global split in how greatness is defined, marketed, and remembered. Mayweather stands as a pinnacle of boxing capitalism, the embodiment of empire building where the record is sacred, money is a metric, and every move is choreographed for maximum personal gain. He turned his image into a weapon, his bank account into validation, and his voice into a second act. Fans either admire him for gaming the system or resent him for never giving them the wars they crave. But love him or hate him, Floyd owned the narrative. Usyk, meanwhile, charted a different course, one grounded not in flash, but in purpose. He fights because fighting is woven into his life, not his brand. There are no viral rants, no diamond chains, no private jets. His social media reflects prayer, training, and updates from a homeland at war. To the purist, is a reminder of boxing's raw, unfiltered past, before it became a pay-per-view circus. To younger fans raised on hype and highlight reels, Usyk might feel too quiet, too humble, too authentic. And that's what makes this moment bigger than it looks. When Floyd downplays Usyk, he's not just criticizing a rival, he's defending a legacy rooted in control, spectacle, and self-preservation. When Usyk responds with humble fire, he's not just speaking for himself. He's standing up for a vision of greatness forged in sacrifice, risk, and silent resilience. This isn't America versus Ukraine. It's not East versus West. It's a culture clash, flash versus focus, brand versus burden, illusion versus endurance. Mayweather fought to stay untouchable. Usyk fights like someone who's already been touched by things far worse than an uppercut. He doesn't wear his pain for applause. He wears it like armor. And now, fans are picking sides, not just between two fighters, but between two futures of boxing itself. Will the sport keep rewarding spectacle and self-promotion? Or will it remember its roots, where true warriors earn their place through what they risk both inside and outside the ropes? This isn't just Mayweather versus Usyk. It's a mirror held up to boxing, and the reflection is beginning to shift.